Why do some people consistently achieve their goals, grow their wealth and stay ahead, while others, despite working hard, feel stuck in the same cycle year after year? It's not always about luck, talent, or even opportunity. The true difference lies in discipline, the daily choices, routines, and focus that separate the wealthy and successful from those who remain average. In this audiobook, Millionaire Discipline: How the Rich Stay Focused, Driven, and Wealthy, written and published by the Audiobook Library, we will uncover the powerful principles that shape the lives of high achievers. You'll discover why discipline is more important than motivation, how successful people structure their days, and the exact habits that help them stay focused and unstoppable, even in the face of challenges. This is not theory. These are proven strategies, drawn from the real lives of entrepreneurs, investors, and leaders who've built lasting wealth and impact. Part 1. The Foundation of Millionaire Discipline. Every skyscraper you see towering over a city skyline started in the dirt, deep underground, where most people never look. Before the steel, the glass, the offices, and the lights, there was only a hole. Workers dug down, pouring concrete and laying a foundation strong enough to carry the immense weight of what would one day rise into the sky. That foundation determines everything. If it's weak, the building collapses. If it's strong, the building stands for generations. Wealth, success, and freedom operate under the same principle. Discipline is that foundation. Without it, every dream, every financial goal, every plan for success collapses under pressure. With it, you can carry any weight, face any setback, and keep rising. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people hate discipline. They see it as boring, restrictive, or too difficult. They'd rather chase motivation, inspiration, or a secret formula for getting rich. They search for hacks, shortcuts, and quick wins. And while they're looking for the easy way, the disciplined few are quietly outworking them, outlasting them, and outgrowing them. This is why, over time, the gap between the rich and the broke widens. It's not always about education or talent. It's about consistency. The wealthy build habits that compound over years. The undisciplined chase comfort, distraction, and instant gratification, and pay for it later in stress, debt, and regret. Discipline versus motivation: why most people fail. Imagine two people setting the same goal, saving $10,000. The first person starts strong. They're motivated, they feel inspired, and they save aggressively in the first month. But by month 3, life gets busy. Unexpected expenses pop up. Their motivation fades. They stop saving consistently, telling themselves they'll catch up later. By December, they're nowhere near the goal. The second person doesn't rely on motivation. Instead, they create a system, automatically transferring a set amount into savings every week, no matter what. Even on hard weeks, they stick to the plan. By December, they reach their goal, not because they were more motivated, but because they were disciplined. Now imagine this principle applied not just to saving, but to fitness, career growth, business, relationships, and investing. Over time, discipline builds empires, while motivation fades into excuses. This is the mindset of millionaires. They don't wait to feel like it. They do it because it needs to be done. They treat discipline like brushing their teeth. Non-negotiable, daily, automatic. The compounding effect of discipline. One of the most powerful truths about discipline is that it compounds, just like money. Read for 30 minutes every day, and in a year, you'll have finished 20-30 books. Over 10 years, that's more than 250 books. Knowledge most people never gain. Exercise for just 20 minutes a day, and in a year, you'll have worked out over 120 hours. Over 5 years, that small habit can completely reshape your body and health. Invest $500 every month, and with compounding interest, you'll see your wealth multiply in ways that surprise you. Millionaires understand this principle deeply. They're not looking for overnight success. They're building systems that guarantee long-term success. Every day of discipline is like making a small deposit in a bank account. Over time, those deposits grow into wealth, health, freedom, and influence. The undisciplined, however, experience the opposite effect. Every day of procrastination, poor spending, or wasted time compounds into stress, financial struggle, and lost opportunities. As Jim Rohn once said, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Real-life example, the discipline of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest men in the world, didn't become rich through risky bets or sudden windfalls. He built his empire through decades of disciplined investing and living far below his means. Even today, despite being worth billions, Buffett lives in the same modest house he bought in 19. He doesn't chase every new trend or fall into emotional decision-making. Instead, he follows strict investing rules, grounded in patience and discipline. His entire fortune is proof that wealth is not built on excitement. It's built on consistency. That's the essence of millionaire discipline, controlling yourself when others can't. Discipline creates freedom. Here's where most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as restriction, as if being disciplined means saying no to fun, relaxation, or freedom. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. Financial discipline means freedom from debt, financial stress, and living paycheck to paycheck. Time discipline means freedom to focus on what matters most, rather than drowning in busyness. Health discipline means freedom to live longer, feel stronger, and avoid preventable diseases. The undisciplined person might enjoy temporary pleasures, impulse shopping, binge-watching shows, oversleeping, but those choices come at a cost: financial struggle, wasted years, and declining health. The disciplined person, meanwhile, builds a life where they don't just survive, they thrive. In other words, you can suffer the pain of discipline now, or the pain of regret later. Millionaires choose discipline. Mastering the morning. Almost every wealthy individual guards their morning routines fiercely. Why? Because mornings set the tone for the entire day. If you win your morning, you win your day. If you lose your morning, you spend the rest of the day playing catch-up. Millionaires often use their mornings to exercise and strengthen their bodies, meditate or journal to sharpen their minds, review their goals and priorities, learn or read to keep growing, while others are hitting snooze, scrolling through social media, or rushing out the door. Millionaires are already stacking wins before the world has even woken up. This is not coincidence, it's discipline. It's the deliberate choice to start the day with clarity and control, rather than chaos and distraction. The invisible force behind wealth. At its core, discipline is an invisible force. You can't post it on Instagram, you can't brag about it in the moment, and most people won't even notice. But over time, discipline reveals itself in undeniable results. The wealth you've built, the freedom you enjoy, and the life you've created. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. Discipline is the quiet strength behind every success story. It's what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It's the reason millionaires stay wealthy while others stay stuck. So remember this: before you can master money, business, or investing, you must first master yourself. Discipline is the foundation. Without it, nothing stands. And in the journey ahead, we will break down how you can not only build this discipline, but apply it to your finances, career, and life in a way that guarantees growth, freedom, and lasting success. Part 2. The War Against Laziness and Distraction. If discipline is the foundation of wealth, then laziness and distraction are the termites eating away at that foundation. They don't destroy it all at once. They nibble quietly and consistently until one day the structure collapses. Most people are not broke because they aren't smart enough, talented enough, or lucky enough. They're broke because they cannot consistently overcome the pull of laziness and distraction. Millionaires understand this truth deeply. The greatest battle is not against competitors or the economy. It is against themselves. Laziness is not just rest. It's a silent thief. There's a difference between rest and laziness. Rest is intentional recovery. Laziness is avoidance. When you rest, you are recharging to come back stronger. When you're lazy, you are escaping responsibilities and opportunities. Laziness doesn't just cost you hours, it costs you dreams. Think of the person who spends 5 hours a day scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, or gaming without purpose. That's 35 hours a week. Over a year, that's more than 1,800 hours. Nearly 11 full months of full-time work. Imagine if those hours were redirected into building a business, mastering a skill, or investing wisely. That one choice, discipline over laziness, could mean the difference between wealth and struggle. Millionaires don't allow laziness to silently steal their lives. They see every wasted hour as lost opportunity. Money they will never earn, health they will never regain, relationships they will never strengthen. The trap of distraction. But laziness alone isn't the only enemy. In today's world, distraction is even more dangerous because it feels productive. Notifications, emails, endless news feeds, constant entertainment. These are billion-dollar industries designed to hijack your attention. You might tell yourself, I'm just checking for a minute, but that minute turns into an hour, then two, then a day, where nothing meaningful gets done. Distraction is the new laziness. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes. Millionaires, they use their phones as tools, not toys. They protect their attention like it's gold, because it is. Focus is currency. The person who can focus deeply on one thing, consistently, will always outperform the person who is pulled in 1,000 directions. The millionaire's armor against laziness. Millionaires don't just resist laziness. They build systems that eliminate it. Discipline is not about willpower alone. Willpower is weak, inconsistent, and drains quickly. Discipline is about creating environments, habits, and structures that make laziness impossible. Here are some powerful strategies millionaires use. Accountability. They surround themselves with high achievers who push them forward. It's hard to be lazy when your circle is building businesses, hitting the gym, and reading books. Removing temptations. They don't keep distractions nearby. If they want to focus, they leave the phone in another room. If they want to save money, they don't walk through malls. Environment shapes behavior. Daily non-negotiables. Wealthy people often have a small set of actions they must complete every day. No excuse, whether it's making business calls, working out, or reading. These habits compound into success. Millionaires don't try to fight laziness when it appears. They design their lives so that laziness never has room to enter. A story of two entrepreneurs. Let's compare two young entrepreneurs, Alex and Brian. Alex has big dreams. He wants to build a startup and achieve financial freedom. But he often sleeps in, tells himself he'll work later, and spends his evenings watching Netflix or scrolling TikTok. His business progress is slow. He blames the market, the economy, and investors. Brian, on the other hand, wakes up early, blocks his time, and commits to working 3 focused hours each morning before anything else. He avoids distractions, limits his social media, and consistently makes progress. After 1 year, Alex has excuses. Brian has a profitable business. Both had the same dream. The difference was discipline versus laziness. The psychology of overcoming laziness. Millionaires don't magically feel like working all the time. They too face days of exhaustion, doubt, and procrastination. But they understand a key principle: action comes before motivation. Most people wait to feel inspired before taking action. Millionaires take action first, and the motivation follows. They don't wait for the mood to strike. They strike until the mood follows. This shift is crucial. If you wait until you feel like saving, working out, or building your business, you will wait forever. But if you start small, even when you don't feel like it, your brain learns to associate action with momentum. Over time, discipline becomes automatic, a habit wired into your identity. You stop saying, "I need to work," and start saying, "I am the kind of person who works no matter what." Practical steps to beat laziness and distraction. Once you begin, momentum carries you. Use the 2-day rule. Never skip a positive habit 2 days in a row. If you miss the gym today, you must go tomorrow. This prevents small failures from turning into spirals. Guard your mornings fiercely. Begin each day with a routine that pushes you forward, not backward. No social media, no aimless scrolling. Start with your highest priority. Replace, don't just remove. If you remove a bad habit like scrolling, replace it with a good one, like reading or brainstorming business ideas. Nature hates a vacuum. If you don't replace the bad, it will come back. Reward discipline, not laziness. Don't celebrate procrastination with comfort. Celebrate discipline with small rewards. This rewires your brain to crave progress. Millionaire discipline in action. Remember, millionaires aren't superheroes. They are ordinary people who have mastered extraordinary discipline. They still feel tired. They still feel tempted, but they have trained themselves to act regardless of emotion. Every fortune you see today is built on thousands of disciplined days in the past. Every broke life you see today is built on thousands of lazy days in the past. This is the truth. Laziness robs silently, but discipline rewards loudly. And once you internalize that every moment is either building wealth or stealing it, you'll start seeing discipline not as a burden, but as the sharpest weapon in your arsenal. Part 3. The relentless power of daily habits. If discipline is the foundation of wealth and beating laziness is the battle, then daily habits are the machinery that builds empires. A single disciplined action repeated every day looks small in the moment, but over time it becomes unstoppable. Millionaires are not made by luck, sudden breakthroughs or lottery wins. They are built brick by brick through the habits they practice consistently, even when no one is watching. The average person underestimates the power of habits because the results don't show up immediately. You don't see the benefit of saving $10 today, skipping the junk food or reading 10 pages of a book. But over weeks, months, and years, those small choices compound into wealth, health, knowledge, and freedom. Millionaires don't just understand this, they live by it. Why habits matter more than motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like waves. You might feel inspired after watching a video, hearing a speech, or reading a book, but that energy fades. Habits, on the other hand, are permanent structures. They lock in discipline. Millionaires don't rely on feeling motivated. They don't ask themselves, do I feel like working today? Do I feel like saving money today? Do I feel like working out today? Instead, they build habits so strong that action becomes automatic. Take brushing your teeth. You don't debate whether or not to do it. It's simply part of who you are. That's how millionaires treat wealth-building activities, not as optional, but as part of their identity. The compounding effect of daily discipline. Here's what separates the wealthy from the struggling. The wealthy think long-term. They understand that one habit practiced daily compounds in ways most people can't imagine. But in a year, that's 30 books. Over a decade, that's 300 books. An education that separates you from 99% of people. Investing a small portion of income every month may feel insignificant, but compounded over 20 years, it becomes generational wealth. Waking up an hour earlier each day gives you 365 extra hours a year, nearly 9 additional work weeks to outpace the competition. Millionaires see time and habits as investments. The broke see them as just one day. Keystone habits of the wealthy. Not all habits are equal. Some habits create ripple effects that improve multiple areas of life. Millionaires often focus on building keystone habits, foundational actions that trigger positive changes everywhere else. Early rising, starting the day before the world wakes up, gives them control, clarity, and focus. It's not about the exact hour, it's about winning the morning before distractions arrive. Daily learning. Millionaires are readers. They consume books, biographies, financial reports, and industry insights daily. Warren Buffett famously spends 80% of his day reading. Knowledge compounds like money. Exercise and health discipline. A strong body fuels a strong mind. Millionaires treat fitness not as vanity but as performance. A healthy body produces energy, clarity, and resilience, all essential for wealth. Daily planning. Every day they know their top priorities. They don't drift, they decide. Writing down daily goals and reviewing progress is a common thread among the successful. Networking and relationship building. They intentionally reach out, connect, and maintain valuable relationships. Opportunities flow to those who stay visible and helpful. Making bad habits. The other side of the coin. Millionaires don't just build good habits. They aggressively eliminate bad ones. They understand that every bad habit carries a hidden tax. Wasted time, wasted money, wasted health. Procrastination taxes your opportunities. Overspending taxes your future wealth. Overeating and ignoring health tax your energy. Negative self-talk taxes your confidence. The wealthy know they can't afford these silent taxes. That's why they replace bad habits with good ones. They don't just quit. If they cut out late-night social media, they replace it with late-night reading. If they reduce alcohol, they replace it with workouts or networking events. A story of transformation through habits. Consider Sarah, a corporate employee who dreamed of becoming financially free. At first she thought she needed a big break, a business idea, a promotion, a lucky investment, but nothing seemed to come her way. One day she decided to change her daily habits instead of chasing quick wins. She committed to reading 30 minutes every morning, saving 15% of her income automatically, waking up 1 hour earlier to work on a side project, exercising 3 times a week. At first the changes felt small. No one noticed, but over 3 years, Sarah had built an online business from her morning hours, doubled her income, improved her health, and grown her confidence. Her friends asked, "What's your secret?" She replied, "There is no secret, just daily habit." This is the power millionaires understand. Discipline is invisible until it becomes undeniable. The science behind habits. Neuroscience reveals that habits are formed through repetition. The brain creates neural pathways that make repeated behaviors easier over time. This means that once you've done something enough times, it requires almost no energy or thought. Millionaires use this science to their advantage. They repeat wealth-building behaviors until they become effortless. Saving, investing, planning, exercising, learning. By doing so, they free up mental energy for creativity, strategy, and decision-making. Meanwhile, the average person wastes brain power fighting procrastination, debating whether or not to work, and resisting temptation. The millionaire saves that energy by living in automatic discipline. Building millionaire habits in your own life. Start small, build big. Begin with 1 or 2 habits. Don't overwhelm yourself with 10 changes at once. Progress compounds. Anchor new habits to existing ones. Pair a new habit with something you already do. For example, read after brushing your teeth, or plan your day after breakfast. This makes new behaviors stick. Track your habits. Millionaires measure everything. Use a journal, an app, or a calendar to track your daily habits. What gets measured gets improved. Automate success. Whenever possible, remove choice. Automate savings. Set reminders. Prepare clothes for workouts in advance. Reduce the friction between you and discipline. Protect your environment. Your environment shapes your habits. Remove junk food if you want to eat health. Surround yourself with readers if you want to read. Follow investors if you want to invest. The identity shift. Here's the ultimate secret. Millionaires don't just practice habits. They become the kind of person who lives them. They don't say, "I'm trying to," they say, "I am an investor." They don't say, "I should work out." They say, "I am an athlete of the mind and body." When discipline becomes identity, habits stick permanent. This is why millionaire habits seem effortless, because they're no longer tasks. They are who they are. Daily habits are the invisible blueprint of wealth. Every fortune you admire was built on a foundation of small, disciplined actions, repeated consistently over time. And every failure you see was built on neglected habits, wasted hours, and short-term thinking. Millionaires don't wait for habits to appear. They build them, protect them, and master them until success is not a possibility, but a guarantee. Part 4. The unbreakable focus of the wealthy. Discipline gives birth to habits, and habits create momentum. But momentum can easily be lost without one critical factor: focus. If habits are the bricks that build wealth, then focus is the blueprint that keeps the structure aligned and unshakable. Millionaires are not scattered. They are not constantly jumping from one idea to another, chasing every shiny opportunity that comes their way. Instead, they build unbreakable focus on the things that truly matter, ignoring distractions that waste time, energy, and money. The average person spreads themselves too thin, trying 10 things, finishing none. Millionaires do the opposite. They pick one thing, master it, and scale it until it creates exponential results. Why focus is the rarest currency? In today's world, focus is more valuable than gold. Everywhere you look, distractions are trying to pull your attention away. Social media notifications, endless entertainment, news cycles designed to trigger emotions, friends and family who don't share your vision. The average person is pulled in 100 directions every single day, but millionaires protect their focus with an intensity most people cannot understand. They know that wealth is not built on scattered effort, it's built on deep, consistent attention to what matters most. The cost of lost focus. Every distraction carries a hidden cost, time cost. Studies show it can take over 20 minutes to refocus after a distraction. Imagine the hours lost daily to interruptions. Opportunity cost. A scattered mind misses connections and creative breakthroughs. Wealth requires clarity, and clarity requires focus. Energy cost. Switching tasks constantly drains willpower. Millionaires conserve energy by staying locked into one high-value activity at a time. The poor believe distractions are harmless. The rich see them as thieves. Millionaire tactics for extreme focus. Clarity of vision. Millionaires know exactly what they are working toward. They set crystal clear goals, not vague dreams. Instead of saying, "I want to be rich someday," they say, "I will build a $1 million business in the next 5 years by focusing on this strategy." Clarity eliminates distractions because anything that doesn't serve the vision becomes irrelevant. Time blocking. Millionaires treat their calendars like sacred ground. They block out hours for deep work, strategy, health and learning. These blocks are non-negotiable. If something doesn't fit the calendar, it doesn't have. The 80-20 rule. The wealthy constantly ask, what 20% of actions create 80% of my results? They cut out low-value tasks and double down on what produces the most max. Environment control. They shape environments that remove temptation. Phones in another room during deep work. Offices designed for productivity. Social circles that encourage discipline, not laziness. Saying no. Millionaires are ruthless with their no. They reject distractions disguised as opportunities. They know every yes to something unimportant is a no to their real mission. Stories of millionaire focus. Warren Buffett is famous for saying that the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. His life demonstrates extreme focus, decades of compounding wealth from sticking to investments he understood, while ignoring trends that distracted others. Elon Musk, despite running multiple companies, demonstrates compartmentalized focus. He schedules his days into 5-minute blocks, ensuring that his energy is laser-directed. Without that discipline, he would collapse under chaos. Oprah Winfrey often speaks about the power of clarity. She once said, "Where there is no vision, there is no hope." Her rise was not random. It was focus on her mission, to inspire and empower others through media. The role of long-term focus. Millionaires think in decades, not days. They don't panic over short-term losses, setbacks or criticism, because they are focused on the bigger picture. While others quit at the first sign of difficulty, the wealthy keep moving. They understand a powerful truth. Short-term noise is irrelevant when your vision is long-term. A slow year in growth is just a preparation season. Millionaires don't measure success by today. They measure it by the trajectory over years. That's why they stay calm in storms while others panic. Building your millionaire focus. Cut out the one distraction stealing the most of your time. Maybe late-night scrolling, toxic company, or constant multitasking. Protect your prime hours. Everyone has hours of peak energy. Millionaires guard those hours fiercely for their most valuable work. Find your peak hours and use them wisely. Write down your 3 key priorities each day. If they're done, the day is a success. Focus as a competitive advantage. Most people fail not because they aren't smart, capable, or talented, but because they are distracted. The truth is, focus is a competitive advantage in a world of chaos. Imagine 2 people with equal skills. One spends 10 hours a week focused. The other spends 10 hours distracted. After a year, the difference is enormous. After a decade, it's life-changing. Millionaires simply focus longer, harder, and with more consistency than others. That's their edge. The discipline of saying no. Perhaps the hardest part of focus is learning to say no, not just to time-wasting distractions, but also to good opportunities that don't align with your mission. The wealthy understand that not every good thing is a great thing. Saying no is discipline. It means protecting your vision from dilution. It means understanding that you cannot do everything, and that by trying, you'll achieve nothing. The mental armor of focus. Discipline and focus create mental armor. The wealthy aren't easily swayed by opinions, criticism, or trends. They don't let society's noise dictate their moves. Instead, they stay locked in on their vision until results manifest. This is why millionaires often seem obsessed. To outsiders, it looks extreme. To them, it's necessary, because in a distracted world, obsession looks like discipline. A closing note on focus. The world is designed to steal your attention. Every day is a battle for your mind. Millionaires win that battle not once, but every single day. They know that wealth is not about luck. It's not even about intelligence. It's about sustained focus on the right things, executed with discipline over years. And that is why they rise above, while others stay. Part 5. The daily systems that shape wealth. Discipline isn't just a trait. It's a system. It's a series of structured actions repeated every day until they become the backbone of success. Millionaires don't rely on bursts of motivation. They don't wait for inspiration. Instead, they build environments, habits, and routines that keep them moving forward, whether they feel like it or not. Their lives are designed to minimize decision fatigue, eliminate wasted time, and channel energy into high-value actions. If Part 4 taught us about focus, Part 5 is about how that focus translates into daily execution, because vision without a system is just a dream, but a system turns that vision into reality. Why systems beat motivation every time. Motivation is temporary. It fades the moment life gets hard, but systems are reliable. Systems don't care about your mood, your feelings, or your comfort. They simply run, and when you follow them, success becomes inevitable. Think about the difference. The average person relies on motivation. They wake up and say, "I'll work hard today if I feel like it." Millionaires rely on systems. They wake up and say, "I will do the work today because my schedule and habits demand it." That's the power of discipline in action. Systems turn success into autopilot. The millionaire morning. Nearly every successful person in history has a powerful morning routine. Why? Because mornings set the tone for the entire day. Millionaires wake up with intention. They don't hit snooze 10 times. They don't start the day scrolling through social media. They begin with rituals that prime the body, sharpen the mind, and align their focus. Common millionaire morning habits include physical exercise. Movement builds energy, confidence, and mental sharpness. Learning and reflection. Reading, journaling, or meditation to strengthen the mind. Daily planning. Identifying the top priorities before distractions begin. This is not about copying routines blindly. It's about designing mornings that empower you, instead of drain you. Time mastery. Scheduling like the rich. Millionaires view time differently. To them, time is more valuable than money. Money can be lost and made again, but time is gone forever. That's why their days are meticulously structured. They use time-blocking systems to allocate hours for specific tasks. Creative work, business meetings, workouts, family, rest. Everything has its place. This structure eliminates decision fatigue. They don't waste mental energy asking, "What should I do now?" The calendar already decided, and when the calendar becomes the boss, procrastination disappears. It's about managing energy. A tired mind makes poor decisions. A burned-out body collapses under pressure. That's why they take strategic breaks to recover and come back sharper. Protect their mental health with practices like mindfulness, journaling, or therapy. Discipline isn't working until collapse. It's creating a system that allows consistent high-level performance for years. Habits of execution. While others talk, millionaires execute. They've built habits that reinforce action over hesitation. Some key habits include the rule of 3, focusing each day on 3 priorities that create the most progress. Daily progress tracking, measuring actions, not just outcomes. Success is built in small wins stacked daily. Non-negotiables, core habits that never get skipped, whether it's exercise, reading, or reviewing goals. These aren't random. their systems. Each habit reinforces the mindset of discipline, stacking into a lifestyle where success becomes routine. The discipline of delayed gratification. One of the hardest systems to master is delayed gratification. Millionaires practice it daily, not just with money but with time, energy and effort. While others seek instant pleasure, scrolling, eating junk food, buying luxuries they can't afford, millionaires invest in the future. They save when others spend. They study when others party. They build when others consume. The system of delayed gratification separates the rich from the broke more than almost anything else. Case study: Jeff Bezos and the power of systems. Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon on raw motivation. He built it on systems. Amazon's success is rooted in operational discipline, logistics, customer obsession, and relentless long-term planning. Bezos himself used strict personal systems. He protects his mornings for high IQ decisions. He prioritizes sleep, refusing the idea of all-nighters. He sticks to principles of long-term focus, avoiding distractions from short-term results. Amazon wasn't luck, it was discipline in action, repeated daily for decades. The discipline of boring consistency. Here's a truth most people don't want to hear. Millionaire discipline is often boring. It's doing the same things day after day, with precision and patience. Showing up to work on your craft every day, saving money consistently, even when it feels slow, studying, learning and applying knowledge long after others quit. The average person chases novelty. The wealthy embrace consistency. They know greatness isn't built in explosive bursts, but in relentless repetition. How to build your millionaire system. Schedule your priorities. Put your goals on a calendar, not a to-do list. Protect energy, sleep, fuel and recover strategically. Build keystone habits. Anchor your day around non-negotiables that drive success. Track progress. Review daily, weekly and monthly progress. What gets measured gets improved. Commit to boring consistency. Stop chasing excitement. Build systems that win over time. Why this matters. At the end of the day, success is not random. Millionaires don't win because of luck, genius or even talent alone. They win because their systems make losing nearly impossible. They wake up with structure. They work with discipline. They rest with purpose. They repeat the process until the results compound beyond imagination. And here lies the truth. Anyone can build these systems. The question is whether you'll choose discipline over comfort. Part 6. Discipline in adversity. How the wealthy conquer struggles, setbacks and failure. The true measure of discipline is not seen when life is easy, smooth and comfortable. It's revealed in the storm. Millionaires are not immune to setbacks, failures or crushing challenges. In fact, they often face bigger problems than most people will ever encounter. But here's what separates them from the rest. When others panic, freeze or quit, they remain calm, disciplined and consistent. They refuse to let emotions dictate their actions. They lean on their habits, their principles and their mindset to push through what would destroy most people. This is where discipline becomes the shield and sword, protecting them from collapse and empowering them to rise stronger after every fall. Why adversity destroys most people. The average person collapses under adversity because they lack three things. Emotional discipline. They let fear, anger or frustration take over. Consistency under pressure. They stop their habits when life gets hard. Long-term perspective. They treat setbacks as the end, not a stepping stone. When bills pile up, when businesses fail, when opportunities collapse, most people default to excuses, blame and avoidance. They retreat into comfort, television, distractions, complaints. Millionaires do the opposite. They double down on discipline. The millionaire's relationship with failure. Millionaires don't fear failure. They expect it. They plan for it. And most importantly, they use it. Where others see a dead end, millionaires see feedback. Where others see embarrassment, millionaires see education. Every failure is data. Every setback is a correction. Every obstacle is a test of resilience. Discipline is what prevents failure from becoming final. Thomas Edison tested thousands of times before creating the light bulb. His discipline was not genius in a single spark, but patience in repeated failure. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first TV job, and told she wasn't fit for television. Discipline drove her to sharpen her skills, learn and build her empire. Elon Musk nearly lost Tesla and SpaceX simultaneously, yet discipline kept him from folding under pressure when investors doubted him. The wealthy are forged in failure, but only because their discipline won't let them quit. Emotional discipline, mastering the storm within. The hardest discipline is not financial, it's emotional. How do you react when everything goes wrong? Millionaires practice emotional regulation. They train themselves to pause before reacting. This isn't natural. It's built through meditation, journaling, exercise, or even mentorship. They condition themselves to respond with clarity instead of chaos, because here's the truth. The greatest battles are not external. They are fought inside the mind. The discipline of persistence. Persistence is discipline stretched over time. When others give up after days or weeks, millionaires keep going for years. This is why businesses that look like overnight successes often took 10 years of grind. Investors who appear lucky stayed disciplined through decades of saving and reinvesting. Athletes who look naturally gifted put in thousands of disciplined hours long before the spotlight found them. Persistence isn't glamorous. It's often lonely, frustrating, and invisible. But this is where discipline proves its worth. The role of routine during crisis. In times of crisis, the average person's routines collapse. They stop working out. They stop budgeting. They stop pursuing goals. Millionaires, however, lean even harder into their routine. They know habits are anchors. When the external world is unstable, their internal systems must remain stable. This is why, during economic crashes, pandemics or recessions, disciplined people still rise. They don't abandon the habits that create results. They stick to them until the storm passes. Pain tolerance. The hidden edge of discipline. Success is painful. It requires rejection, failure, ridicule, and sacrifice. Most people can't tolerate that pain, so they choose the comfort of mediocrity. Millionaires have trained their pain tolerance. They know discipline often means sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term gain. Growth comes with discomfort, pushing through exhaustion, fear, and uncertainty. The ability to endure what others avoid creates results others will never have. The rich don't escape pain, they master it. The discipline of problem solving. When confronted with problems, most people complain. Millionaires solve. Their discipline lies in approaching problems systematically. Define the problem clearly. Don't fight shadows. Identify the real issue. Break it down. Divide overwhelming challenges into smaller, solvable parts. Seek resources. Use mentors, books, or networks to find answers. Take immediate action. Don't wait until the plan is perfect. Discipline means moving forward even when solutions are incomplete. Progress beats paralysis. Adversity as a filter. Adversity filters out the undisciplined. It separates those who want success from those who are committed to it. This is why the road to wealth feels lonely, because most people quit when it gets hard. They lack the discipline to keep moving. Millionaires thrive because they don't see adversity as rejection. They see it as confirmation. If it's hard, it must be worth it. Case study: Howard Schultz and Starbucks. Howard Schultz grew up poor, the son of a truck driver. When he wanted to expand Starbucks, banks rejected him over 200 times. Most people would have quit after the 10th rejection, but Schultz had discipline. He kept refining his pitch. He kept showing up. He persisted through rejection after rejection until he finally secured funding. Today, Starbucks is a global empire. The difference wasn't luck. It was disciplined persistence through crushing setback. Building your adversity discipline. You can build this millionaire-level resilience by practicing controlled challenges. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations daily. Cold showers, intense workouts, public speaking. Build tolerance for discomfort. Reframe failure. Train your mind to ask, what did I learn? How can this help me? Micro persistence. Stick to small goals consistently. Finishing a workout. Saving a set amount weekly. Completing daily tasks no matter what. Anchor habits. Identify 2-3 habits you will not abandon even in chaos. These keep you grounded when life spins out of control. Why this matters. Discipline isn't proven when everything is easy. It's proven when the pressure is unbearable. The rich don't succeed because life is smooth for them. They succeed because they refuse to quit when it isn't. They embrace failure. They control emotions. They persist when others fold. They use adversity as fuel instead of fear. And that's why wealth gravitates toward them, because their discipline makes them unbreakable. Part 7. The Discipline of Exponential Growth. Scaling wealth, influence and legacy. Discipline doesn't stop at survival. Anyone can scrape by if they're careful enough. The true power of discipline lies in transformation, in turning small, consistent actions into massive, compounding results that eventually look like miracles to outsiders. Millionaires don't just stay disciplined to avoid falling, they stay disciplined to keep climbing, to keep multiplying, to keep stretching the ceiling of what's possible. Their lives are testaments to one truth: discipline is the accelerator of growth. Without it, ambition burns out. With it, even ordinary people can build extraordinary results. Why most people plateau? Most people work hard, get a bit of success, and then stop. They plateau because they lack the discipline to keep sharpening their skills, systems, and mindset after reaching good enough. Millionaires never stop. They know comfort is the most dangerous trap. That's why their discipline grows stronger as their success grows bigger. While others celebrate small victories, millionaires push forward with relentless consistency. The discipline of compounding wealth, knowledge, and habits is one of the secret engines behind exponential growth. But compounding only works when paired with discipline. Compounding wealth, small investments made consistently over time, become fortunes. Millionaires don't stop investing after a few wins. They continue relentlessly, letting time multiply their money. Compounding knowledge. Millionaires discipline themselves to keep reading, learning, and upgrading their skills daily. Every book, course, or mentor adds layers of advantage. Compounding habits. Tiny disciplined routines, done for years, result in transformation. A millionaire's health, focus, and productivity are built from decades of consistency, not bursts of effort. Compounding looks invisible at first, but after years of disciplined execution, it explodes into visible success. The discipline of scaling. Millionaires don't just work harder, they work smarter through scaling. But scaling takes extreme discipline because it requires systems, delegation, and long-term patience. They discipline themselves to reinvest profits, not spend them recklessly. Scaling time. They hire, delegate, and automate, so their hours are multiplied through others. Scaling influence. They maintain discipline in networking, showing up consistently in the right rooms, building credibility and trust over years. Scaling is not glamorous. It requires saying no to distractions, documenting systems, and training others. The undisciplined chase quick wins. The wealthy build empires. The relentless upgrade mindset. Here's what separates disciplined millionaires from stagnant ones. They are never satisfied with who they are today. They keep upgrading. When they master one skill, they discipline themselves to learn another. When their company succeeds, they discipline themselves to ask, what's next? When they achieve comfort, they discipline themselves to stay hungry. This is why wealth often concentrates. Those who already have success keep getting more, because their discipline keeps them evolving, while everyone else gets comfortable. Case study: Jeff Bezos and Amazon. When Amazon became the largest online bookstore, Bezos could have stopped, but he disciplined himself and his team to keep expanding. He reinvested profits, often frustrating investors who wanted immediate payouts. That discipline to focus on long-term compounding, rather than short-term gratification, allowed Amazon to scale into one of the largest companies in the world. Bezos' mantra was clear: it's always day one. Discipline means never coasting, no matter how big the win. The discipline of reinvestment. Millionaires don't waste their wins. When they earn, they reinvest. When they profit, they expand. When they succeed, they don't splurge, they multiply. This reinvestment discipline is what turns 6 figures into 7, 7 into 8, and beyond. They resist the temptation to celebrate prematurely. Instead, they feed their businesses, investments, and opportunities until growth becomes unstoppable. The undisciplined, on the other hand, spend their win. That's why most lottery winners and overnight celebrities go broke. They mistake income for wealth, ignoring the discipline of reinvestment, discipline in energy and health. Here's the often overlooked truth: exponential growth requires exponential energy. Millionaires discipline themselves ruthlessly in health, fitness, and rest, because they know they are the engine of their wealth. They discipline themselves to exercise regularly, even when busy. They watch their diets, knowing sharp minds require sharp bodies. They discipline sleep and recovery, because burnout destroys potential. Discipline in health is not optional. It's a wealth multiplier, because without energy, no one can sustain growth. The discipline of boring consistency. The magic of exponential growth isn't firework, it's boring consistency. The discipline to do ordinary things daily, without fail, until the results become extraordinary. Writing every day builds books, blogs, and businesses. Investing every month builds fortunes. Training every week builds mastery. Millionaires aren't chasing dopamine. They're building brick by brick, while the undisciplined chase shiny distractions. Growth demands sacrifice. Exponential growth isn't free. It demands sacrifice. The discipline to let go of unnecessary luxuries, time-wasting friendship, entertainment that steals hours, comfort zones that feel safe but keep you small. Millionaires know you can't grow big if you're weighed down by small attachments. Discipline means cutting away what doesn't serve the mission. Legacy discipline. For the wealthy, discipline doesn't stop with them, it expands into legacy. They discipline themselves to think beyond their lifetime, through generational wealth, mentorship, philanthropy, or institutions. This is why the truly wealthy don't just stay rich. They make sure their wealth, values, and systems outlive them. That requires discipline at the highest level, thinking in decades, not days. Bringing it together, millionaires don't achieve exponential growth by chance. They achieve it through disciplined reinvestment, scaling systems, time and influence, energy management and health discipline, sacrifice of comfort for long-term expansion. Their discipline is not about avoiding failure anymore. It's about expanding success endlessly, turning small daily acts into global impact. This is why millionaire discipline isn't just about wealth. It's about building lives, businesses, and legacies that continue to grow long after they're gone. Part 8. The discipline of environments, relationships, and networks. If there is one truth the wealthy understand better than anyone, it is this: environment is stronger than willpower. You can have the strongest discipline in the world, but if you spend your days surrounded by laziness, negativity, and distraction, you will eventually break. Millionaires know this. That's why they practice the discipline of controlling their environment and curating their relationships. They understand that the people you surround yourself with and the places you put yourself in will either accelerate your success or slowly poison it. Wealth is rarely a solo achievement. It is the product of aligning yourself with the right rooms, the right mentors, the right collaborators, and the right culture. Millionaire discipline in this arena is ruthless, intentional, and non-negotiable. The harsh truth about environments: most people fail because they are trapped in environments that hold them back. Homes filled with distractions instead of inspiration. Cities or neighborhoods that normalize financial struggle. Millionaires discipline themselves to escape toxic environments and place themselves where ambition thrives. They upgrade their spaces, their networks, and their conversations because they know you will rise or fall to the level of your environment. They create spaces that trigger productivity and focus. Home offices, organized desks, inspiring bookshelves, vision boards, and clean setups that eliminate clutter and spark action. Morning routine spaces, gyms, meditation corners, or quiet areas designed to anchor habits. Work environments. They discipline themselves to build or choose workplaces that demand high performance and creativity. They treat their environment as an invisible hand that pushes them forward. This is why you rarely see a millionaire living in chaos. Their discipline extends even to the energy of the rooms they occupy. The discipline of choosing people. Jim Rohn said, You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Millionaires live this truth with extreme discipline. They avoid energy drainers, people who complain, criticize, or distract. They limit exposure to mediocrity, those who settle, stagnate, and discourage ambition. They invest time in growth-oriented people, mentors, fellow builders, innovators, and dreamers. They upgrade their circle constantly, ensuring that each new stage of success comes with new, more challenging environments. Millionaires don't tolerate friendships that pull them backward. They practice the discipline of strategic association, the social sacrifice of success. Here's an uncomfortable reality. Millionaire discipline often requires outgrowing people. Childhood friends, extended family, or old colleagues may not fit the new version of you. This doesn't mean millionaires stop loving those people. It means they discipline their time. They protect their focus. They spend less time in environments that normalize small thinking, even if it hurts socially. It is discipline, not cruelty, because the wealthy know that proximity is power, and if they stay too long in the wrong environments, their momentum will die. Networking as a discipline, not an accident. Most people think networking is about luck, being in the right place at the right time. Millionaires know it is about discipline. They deliberately attend high-level conferences and masterminds, join industry associations where the best ideas circulate, host or attend dinners with other high achievers, build long-term trust instead of short-term favor, follow up consistently, keeping their name relevant and respected. For millionaires, networking isn't random. It's a daily, disciplined practice of planting seeds that later grow into partnerships, opportunities, and wealth. Protecting energy through boundaries. Millionaires also know the discipline of boundaries. They do not let anyone waste their time. They say no often. They delegate conversations and tasks that don't require their presence. They control access, ensuring only high-value relationships reach them consistently. They protect mornings, evenings, or entire days for deep work without interruption. They understand that time is their most valuable asset, and only discipline can protect it from being stolen. Discipline in mentorship. Every millionaire has mentors, whether directly or indirectly, but they don't leave mentorship to chance. They discipline themselves to seek mentors actively, pay for coaching, courses, or masterminds if necessary, humble themselves enough to learn instead of pretending they know it all, apply lessons consistently, turning knowledge into action. Millionaires understand the discipline of submission to wisdom, because ego keeps you broke, while humility accelerates wealth. The discipline of teaching and giving back. Millionaires also discipline themselves socially in another way. By becoming mentors and givers, they mentor others selectively, creating ripple effects of growth. They build communities, masterminds, or networks that reinforce their vision. They contribute through charity, investments, or partnerships to create environments where more people can thrive. This giving is not random generosity. It is strategic, disciplined influence. It strengthens their network, expands their reputation, and builds long-term trust. Case study: Warren Buffett. Buffett is famously disciplined about environment and relationships. He spends time with people who share his values: frugality, integrity, and long-term thinking. He avoids toxic industries, shady characters, and high-risk environments. His disciplined associations are one reason Berkshire Hathaway has thrived for decades. He once said, "It's better to hang out with people better than you. Pick out associates whose behavior is better than yours, and you'll drift in that direction." This is the social discipline that makes wealth sustainable. Environments create destiny. Ultimately, millionaire discipline in environments, relationships, and networks comes down to this: the wrong environment destroys dreams faster than failure. The wrong relationships drain energy faster than work. The wrong network closes doors that should open. Millionaires discipline themselves to avoid these traps. They curate their lives carefully, ensuring that every space, every person, and every circle pushes them high, bringing it together. Millionaires stay rich and grow richer because they mastered the discipline of controlling environments, the discipline of choosing people wisely, the discipline of intentional networking, the discipline of boundary, the discipline of mentorship and giving back. It isn't luck, it isn't magic, it's discipline in every room they enter, every friendship they nurture, and every network they invest in. They know success is contagious, but so is mediocrity. Millionaire discipline ensures they are always catching the right infection. Part 9. The discipline of self-mastery. Controlling your mind, emotions, and impulses. The greatest battlefield for wealth is not the stock market, not the real estate industry, not even the business world. It is the mind. Every millionaire knows this truth. Before you can master money, you must master yourself. Discipline is not about punishing yourself or living a joyless life. It is about gaining control over the forces inside you that, if left unchecked, will sabotage your future. Procrastination, fear, doubt, laziness, pride, and impulsiveness. The rich are not superhuman. They feel fear, temptation, and doubt like everyone else. The difference is that they practice the discipline of self-mastery. They control their inner world so that it does not control them. Why self-mastery matters. Think of all the opportunities lost in life. Were they lost because of lack of intelligence, lack of ability, lack of money? Rarely. Most were lost because of lack of discipline, giving up too soon when fear hit, spending impulsively instead of saving, reacting emotionally in a negotiation instead of staying calm, procrastinating on a life-changing project, letting pride block learning from others. Millionaires succeed not because they never feel these impulses, but because they train themselves to rise above them. Mastering the mind. Millionaire discipline begins with the mind. The thoughts you entertain today become the life you live tomorrow. Guarding thoughts. Millionaires are disciplined in filtering what enters their minds. They avoid media that fills them with negativity. They consume books, ideas, and conversations that elevate their thinking. Positive mental programming. They train themselves to see possibilities where others see limitations. Self-talk is disciplined, intentional, and constructive. They train themselves to sustain attention on a few high-impact goals, rather than chasing endless distractions. Self-mastery means becoming the gatekeeper of your own mind. Mastering emotions. Money and business are emotional games disguised as rational ones. The wealthy discipline themselves emotionally so they don't self-destruct. Fear. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, they use it as a signal for growth. Fear tells them where the opportunity is. Anger. They don't allow temporary emotions to destroy permanent opportunity. Millionaire discipline means never negotiating, investing, or making big decisions in anger. Greed. They discipline themselves to not get swept away by hype or shortcuts. They stay rational when others lose their heads. Doubt. They feel it but keep moving. Self-mastery is the discipline to act, despite uncertainty. Think of Warren Buffett's famous line, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." That's not just wisdom, it's emotional discipline. Mastering impulses. One of the clearest signs of millionaire discipline is how they handle impulses. The average person reacts instantly to cravings, temptations, distractions. The disciplined rich pause, reflect, and choose. Financial impulses. They resist buying what they don't need, even when they can afford it. Instead, they delay gratification, investing first and spending later. Work impulses. They don't abandon projects midway because of boredom. They discipline themselves to finish what they start. Lifestyle impulses. They don't let short-term pleasures, endless parties, lazy weekends, indulgent habits consume their long-term vision. Digital impulses. They discipline their relationship with technology, limiting mindless scrolling and focusing on productive use of tools. Impulse control is the invisible superpower that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. The discipline of patience. Millionaires discipline themselves to play the long game. In a world addicted to instant results, they master patience. Investments. They let money grow instead of chasing fast, risky wins. Skills. They spend years mastering their craft when others quit after weeks. Businesses. They allow companies to mature, reinvesting instead of cashing out too soon. Reputation. They build credibility over decades, knowing trust is their most valuable asset. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active discipline, the ability to keep working while waiting for the result. The role of routines. Self-mastery isn't about occasional bursts of discipline. It's about routines that shape behavior automatically. Millionaires build systems so they don't have to fight temptation every day. Morning routines. Exercise, planning, reflection, and work on priorities before distractions set in. Evening routines. Winding down, learning or gratitude practices that keep the mind sharp. Financial routines. Regular reviews of spending, savings, and investment. Focus routines. Scheduled time blocks for deep work. By making discipline a habit, they turn self-mastery into their default mode. Self-discipline versus motivation. Most people wait for motivation to act. Millionaires flip this. They understand it fades quickly. Discipline is permanent. It carries you when motivation dies. They don't rely on feeling good to do what must be done. They discipline themselves to act first, and the feelings follow later. Mastering the inner dialogue. Millionaires know their greatest conversation is with themselves. Their inner dialogue is disciplined, not careless. When fear speaks, they answer with courage. When laziness whispers, they respond with action. When doubt rises, they counter with faith and facts. When pride tempts, they remind themselves of humility. They are not slaves to their inner voice. They discipline it, train it, and direct it, like a soldier. Mental resilience in failure. No one escapes failure. The difference is that most people collapse under it, while millionaires discipline themselves to rise through it. They don't let failure define their identity. They learn faster because they don't waste time wallowing in pity. They maintain momentum when others quit. Self-mastery means resilience. The discipline to stay standing when storms hit. The invisible war. At its core, millionaire discipline in self-mastery is about winning the invisible war, the one inside you. It is not glamorous, but it is decisive. Every time they say no to laziness, they grow stronger. Every time they resist a bad investment, they protect their empire. Every time they stay calm under pressure, they gain advantage. Every time they finish what they start, they build power. This invisible discipline is why millionaires are unshakable, while others remain fragile. Bringing it together, millionaires become rich and stay rich, not just because they know money, but because they know themselves. They practice the discipline of controlling emotions, the discipline of resisting impulses, the discipline of patience, the discipline of routines, the discipline of resilience. Without this foundation, no wealth lasts. With it, almost any goal becomes achievable. Part 10. The Millionaire Philosophy of Life. Discipline beyond wealth. Wealth in its truest form is not just measured in bank balances, investment portfolios, or luxury possessions. It is measured in freedom, impact, and legacy. Millionaires who remain wealthy and respected do so because they practice a deeper discipline, one that expands beyond money into every area of life. This final discipline is not simply about what they do, but who they become. Discipline of vision, seeing beyond the horizon. Every enduring fortune begins with a vision bigger than money. Millionaires discipline themselves to think in terms of decades, not days. They ask, what will my life look like 10, 20, 30 years from now? They discipline themselves to avoid short-term distractions that derail long-term purpose. They practice foresight, always preparing for inevitable changes in markets, industries, and life itself. While others are caught in survival mode, millionaires operate in strategic vision mode. They live by a compass, not a clock. 2. Discipline of values. Wealth with integrity. Money without values leads to emptiness. Many people rise quickly but fall even faster because they compromise integrity for gain. True millionaires discipline themselves to remain grounded in values. Integrity. They keep their word even when it costs. Fairness. They create wealth in ways that uplift, not exploit. Reputation. They discipline themselves never to gamble with trust, knowing reputation compounds faster than money. Values are their invisible currency, worth more than cash. 3. Discipline of time. The wealth of moments. Money can be regained, but time is never recovered. Millionaires understand this truth, And so they discipline themselves to master time. They prioritize only spending time on people and projects that align with their mission. They delegate, trusting others with what doesn't require their personal attention. They say no, not out of arrogance, but out of respect for their finite hours. For the rich, time is not just money, it is life. They guard it fiercely. 4. Discipline of health. Energy as the first currency. Wealth means nothing without the energy to enjoy it. Millionaires discipline themselves in caring for their physical, mental, and emotional health. They exercise regularly, not for vanity but for endurance. They maintain nutrition, understanding that food fuels performance. They rest deeply, knowing recovery sustains long-term productivity. They practice mindfulness, meditation, or prayer to keep their minds sharp. Health is the first wealth. The undisciplined rich eventually trade money for health, but the disciplined rich preserve both. 5. Discipline of relationships. Wealth in people. Millionaires don't rise alone. They discipline themselves to build, maintain, and invest in relationships. They seek mentors and advisors who challenge them. They nurture partnerships built on mutual trust. They maintain family bonds, knowing that true success includes loved ones. They cultivate networks, but avoid toxic circles that drain their energy. They live by this principle: your network is your net worth. 6. Discipline of giving. Wealth that multiplies. The richest know that money hoarded shrinks, but money circulated grows. They discipline themselves to give back. Philanthropy is not an afterthought. It is a pillar of their philosophy. They invest in communities, education, and causes larger than themselves. They understand that giving shapes character, protects from greed, and creates impact that outlives them. Giving is not charity, it is legacy. 7. Discipline of continuous growth. Never settling. While others retire into comfort, millionaires discipline themselves to keep learning and evolving. They read voraciously, knowing knowledge compounds like money. They stay curious, always asking questions. They adapt, never clinging to outdated methods. They push beyond success, chasing significance. The undisciplined stop learning after success. The disciplined never stop learning, which is why they stay relevant for life. Discipline of legacy, beyond the self. In the end, true millionaire discipline is about what outlives them. They don't just build businesses, they build institutions. They don't just make money, they shape generations. They plan succession carefully, ensuring wealth doesn't destroy their heirs but empowers them. They record lessons, pass down wisdom, and build family cultures of excellence. They use wealth to seed opportunities for those who may never meet. Legacy is the ultimate dividend of disciplined living. 9. The holistic philosophy. When you look closely, millionaire discipline is not just about working hard, saving money, and investing wisely. It is about a philosophy of life. Control your mind, and you control your reality. Control your habits, and you shape your destiny. Control your time, and you multiply your wealth. Control your emotions, and you master the game. Control your values, and you preserve your name. Control your impulses, and you keep your future. Millionaires don't achieve greatness by chance. They achieve it by choice. Repeated, disciplined choices every single day. 10. A call to discipline. The path is not glamorous. It is not always exciting. It is not free from pain, but it is worth it. The discipline of millionaires transforms not only bank accounts, but entire lives. Ask yourself, will you control your habits, or let them control you? Will you discipline your time, or let it vanish? Will you rise above emotions, or remain a slave to them? Will you live for today, or build for tomorrow? Millionaire discipline is not for the few. It is for anyone willing to practice it. And those who do will find that wealth, success, and legacy are simply the natural rewards of a disciplined life.